Let's see how there's a person. Thank you for coming this evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the second meeting of July, regular meeting for the Sylvania Township Trustees. Today is July 16th and the time is 5:02.
Call the roll. Mr. Gentleman. Here. Mr. Boney. Here. Mr. Crandall.
Here.
Simcoe. Here.
Could we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'll move approval of the minutes for the July 2nd meeting.
Second. Yeah, who did this? Is that you, John? Yeah. John. Mr. Gentleman. Yes. Mr. Moe. I abstain. I wasn't here. Oh. Mr. Crandall.
Yes. Next is additions or deletions to the agenda, and I'd like to change items 9 and 10. We'll do the open discussion and reports before the hearing of the public. Hearing of the public on agenda items, I don't see anybody signed in, is that correct? Okay, I guess so, thank you. We'll move on to the Road and Service Department. Steve?
Good evening.
Hi, Steve.
I have the monthly report for June. I should have had that there. A few of the things that are either completed or still in progress. We completed the second round of street sweeping. That went out. The 4th of July, we support by putting out barricades and helping them with that stuff for the 4th of July and for the traffic. Completed the second round of right-of-way mowing. Send out our tractor to do anything along ditches. Along with that, we paint and participate in Safety Town. We paint every year the kind of the roadway at the school. Gives them a little track. We paint that every year. Also, we did some asphalt work at Fire Station number 4. They have, in their main driveway, they had some bumps going in and out for crossover tiles and utilities that went to the building, so we repaired those and repaved them. And then also prep for the resurfacing of our parking lot here. That is the road department. As far as service department, car 22 is in service. That's one of the new Explorers. Our mechanics finished that. Other than that, just some routine maintenance. The maintenance department, Steve did some office remodeling in the administration building. I believe that would be Karen's office. Repainted and did some work in there. Training, we have a new employee, so we have some online training and some then other training, along with the new service manager, training for him. And then tracking projects out there, the OPWC, that'll be for one of the resolutions to be signed. Also, another one is out to bid for resurfacing. That is some ongoing projects. He also has crack sealing program. That should start the week of July 22nd, and some various subdivisions. And then completed was the parking lot here for the road department. And that is the monthly report. I don't know if you have any questions.
Any questions, John? Nick?
There's a lot of trees down that you guys are going to be responding to here.
Yes.
Yes. Good luck.
We went out today and started picking them up, and we will still be on it tomorrow.
There's one at Quarry in Cambrian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of phone calls. As of right now, we're just picking up trees that fell in the right of way and that were blocking the roadway that we had to go out and push off the road. So, but there's a lot of people putting piles back out at the road. If that's it, I have some resolutions.
Go ahead.
Resolution number 19-080, approve plan and advertise for bid for 2019 resurfacing project.
I'll move resolution 19-080 to approve the plan and advertise for the 2019 resurfacing program.
Second. Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes. Next resolution, Steve?
All right. Next one is resolution number 19-081, authorizing administrator to act as CEO for OPWC. And that is to remove John Zeitler, put Oliver on there.
I'll move resolution 19-081, authorizing the new administrator to act as the CEO for the OPWC project.
Second. Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
And the last one, resolution number 19-083, reimbursement intent for Sylvania Township and Lucas County for 2020 Sylvania Township Ohio Public Works Commission project.
I'll move resolution 19-083, reimbursement intent of Sylvania Township and Lucas County for the 2020 OPWC Commission project.
Second. Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Fiscal officer, I think
Yes,
you've
sir.
got some resolutions, Dave?
Two resolutions. Resolution 19-082, it's a township appropriation from unencumbered balance. And what we are doing is we have some additional appropriations are needed, in those listed accounts there. On the local share, the one really substantial one there, we do get reimbursed on that, those funds. So,
I'll move resolution 1882, township appropriation from unencumbered balance.
1982? Sorry, John, 1982.
I'm sorry.
Yep, you're good. Second. Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
And the last resolution is a transfer of appropriations. They're needed in a line item, but we're just moving money around in that account there, and it's a little over $3,400.
I move resolution 19-084, transfer of appropriations.
Second. Mr. Genowine?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay, the next item is my adjustment. We'll go to open discussion and reports. We'll start with the fire department. Hi, Chief.
Hi there.
Hi, Mike.
How's everybody tonight? Start out with page 2, some more June anniversaries. And again, I apologize, I've been trying to do the monthly report since we're down one person in the office, so if there's something out of line or anything, it's from my computer skills. So, page number 3, number of incidents. Again, watching the overlapping. As you'll see, from 2018, we were at 44.92% of the time we had an incident, to this year, we're at, this year is 55.27. And actually, our runs were up from 492 to 503, which is not a huge increase, but nevertheless, it seemed like every time one station was out, another, or even a second one was out at the same time. Next would be the patient count. Patient disposition, Medic 63 was down, remember, for a little while for repair, so that's why for monthly in 19 only had 7 transports, but Medic 64 was still pretty busy, so we had 184 transports in the month. Community risk reduction, Chief Freilich and Firefighter Hill were out. They've been doing a lot of training, as you'll see the picture down below. A lot of fire extinguisher training with some of the companies, and we work somewhat with some of the nursing facilities. The state requires them to do fire drills and the such, so we did a lot of work with them. We did have a few car seat installs, but I did not get the number before I finished the report. Next one would be our fire training bureau. Again, the guys trained. We had over 800 hours of training last month. It was really basically trying to use those houses, like I said, as much as we possibly could. We also had firefighter Schoendorf still working on his probationary full-time stuff, so we worked with him just about every day that he was on shift. And then we had some TENS medic training with the SRT team, so guys were pretty busy with the training. Right now, the last couple of weeks, they haven't been out at the houses because of the heat, so it's kind of hard to put them in there. So I asked them to, right now they're trying to do some of their driver's training right now so that they're not cooped up in those houses. And then the last page is overtime. We did have like Safety City, Safety Town, and again some SRT, and again the funded overtime's picking up too with the events, the running events, and then also out at the terrace with all the events out there. So, and really that's all I have unless anybody has any questions.
I have one for you.
Yes.
I should have maybe checked with Darrell before this, but on Sylvania, where those houses at, those folks were at, Darrell, you mentioned they're gonna be abandoning those properties and clearing them up and getting rid of them? Do you think that maybe this would be a good fire run, to practice doing some fire on a couple?
Well, the problem is that they're not safe on the inside for us to do anything. And
Okay.
I mean, we could do a burn down, but then you have to do the asbestos and...
Okay.
So, I mean, great idea, but that's what we're gonna do with the ones on Key Road. Mercy's gonna do the asbestos removal and all that, which will then allow us to do it, but I don't think this gentleman would probably wanna pay to let us do that.
Oh, good.
It'd be a great chance to run the pumps and do some water movement, but I don't think I'd put any guys in there for training purposes.
No, sir, no problem.
Okay, thanks.
Any questions for Chief? John? Okay, thank you, Chief. Next item is the Police Department.
Hi, Bob. I don't have much for you here. A pretty quiet month, which is good. Everything stayed pretty steady with in terms of the numbers and all that. Burglaries, we were up one of the 6. 3 of them, I believe we've already got suspects identified and hope to charge. We did have we had a pretty significant beating back in May of Taylor Kia, where they got a lot of mechanics tools, a high loss. We were able to solve that. We got some assist from, it was a group that was operating in Michigan as well, and Michigan was on them, so we have 3 suspects that we were able to indict on that, and we recovered, I think, one of the mechanics toolboxes, but they had gotten rid of most of the property, but it was nice just to get somebody charged from that, and all 3 of them admitted to Maumee. It was a group going around Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan, and they just worked their way around. They steal trailers, do B&Es, and everything else, so why they chose Sylvania Township, I don't know, but they did. Lucky us, but it was nice to get that one solved. So that's always good to see that. Let's see, Safety Town starts community affairs stuff. We had Safety Town, which was in June. We talked a little bit about the SM, that was successful. Speed trailers, we've been getting those out. We've had a lot of residents calling, so we're getting those out, different locations. The dispatcher OT that I've been talking about is still high. Obviously, now we just got an advertisement going. So we're going to have for the next couple of weeks a chance for a national testing network for dispatchers, so we can hire to replace the one that's been gone for so long, and I believe he is now officially going to get a disability. So we have it in the works to get that position filled, so hopefully sooner rather than later. And so that's, at least I'm glad we got that ball rolling, because that's just been killing us with the overtime, and early in the year we had 2 others, but just the one FMLA, so that's good to move forward on that. We did just offer, I finished interviews for officers, because we're down 1. Will be 2 when we do the promotion, but I can only come up with 1 good one left on this list, so we did offer a job, he accepted, so we're waiting for physicals and psychs and all that, so we have the ball rolling to fill 1 vacancy. We'll have to do another test to fill that 2nd vacancy when the promotions happen, which at this point right now, there's 1 step left in the process, the interviews. assessment center got done, so I'm hoping to have the new lieutenant position filled by September 1st is my goal. And we'll probably do the swearing in for the new officer the next meeting, August 6th, because I don't want to do it on August 20th when it's the PSAT meeting. I'd rather have that out of the way before that, so I think we're tentatively hoping to start him August 12th. Let me see. Oh, the other thing I want to say, even though it's his July meeting, I'm going to give, from a personal perspective, I'm going to give kudos to the Sylvania Township Fire Department. On the early morning hours of July 3rd, my neighbor's house caught on fire directly next door to me. Come out at 12:15 to see a raging inferno in his garage. His, fire had, 911 had just been called. When, I'm clueless, I sleep right through it. My wife makes me says, hey, why are the police out front? I go, I don't know, I'm gonna go down and find out. And I open the door and see, oh my God, it's a fire, and I went running over to tell him there's somebody inside, and my elderly neighbor who has dementia, his family couldn't get him out, and two of his firefighters went in, and you couldn't see 1 inch in front of your face, and I don't know how they managed to get him out. I don't know how they found him, I don't know how the firefighters got out alive, but they were in there, I think 8 minutes, she told me, and it seemed like an eternity when we got him out, and, he was able to survive for 5 days, but ultimately did pass away. But, man, great job by and they, kept the fire away from my house, which was nice. The sad part is I didn't want my neighbor Rick to pass away, but, either house on either side could have, caught on fire as well, so they were all over it, and I tell you what, I told them I'd better face a man with a gun any day than go in that fire. They all say the opposite, but I can shoot back at a man with a gun, I can't shoot back at fire. They did a great job. But to see him in action was, and they got there, and once they got suited up, they got in ASAP. I told them, I said, I don't know how you trained for that. I mean, they made it up the stairs, feeling around, and it was unbelievable to see him in action, so, and that's good training there. I'm sure that's something that not as guys, you can train all day long knowing, hey, I'm in the smokehouse, if things go bad, someone taps me on the shoulder and says, come on, you can get out. There was no tapping me on the shoulder getting me out of that. If those guys got turned around in there, they don't come out alive, so, anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you don't ever like to be wakened to that, that was horrifying.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? No? All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Last one is the zoning department. Darrell?
Good evening.
Evening.
Monthly report for zoning for the month of June. Page 1, permits issued. We were up 23% on the month with 58 permits. That's against last year. And an estimated value down 5.3% against June of 2018. Year to date, we are just under 19% down in number of permits, but up just under 12% in estimated value. On page 2, single-family dwelling permits, year to date, we still continue to lag behind last year, 56 versus 85, although if you look at the 3 years prior to that, we are pretty much in keeping or above those numbers. Quarry Ridge subdivision, the one next to Brent Crossing, should be starting up pretty soon, so we're looking forward to a big jump in house permits, if not the end of this year, early next year. Estimated value of single-family dwelling permits is down 19% from last year, but the estimated value per dwelling is up 22.9% at $308,000 per dwelling. Page 3, zoning complaints for the month of June, up slightly from last year, 36 versus 32, that's a 12.5% increase, and down on the year to date at 118 versus 136, that's a 13% decrease. Page 4, zoning department board meetings. BZA had 3 cases, zoning commission did not meet, and we had project plan review for a proposed drive-through coffee/donut shop on Central Avenue. This is the location that Enterprise Car Rental moved out of last year, and they also obtained 2 variances from the BZA for that same location. Page 5. I won't read all of those, just a couple of the highlights. If we had an award for most clever name for a business, that first one, Nothing Bundt Cakes, should get it. That's going in on Central Avenue. That is the little shopping center where there's the Sakura Express, I believe there's a Starbucks or some kind of coffee shop in there. There's only about 4 businesses in it. Down on the bottom, Kripke Enterprises and Definition Fitness will be going through project plan review tomorrow morning. Kripke is doing a parking lot expansion, and Definition Fitness is building a new facility, relocating from their current location on Central Avenue. As mentioned earlier, the Holland Sylvania Green Acre houses, just an update on that. The property owner sent an email to Deputy Chief Freilich and Dean Boyers that he is in the process of getting the utilities disconnected and obtaining his demolition permit from the county, and he's taking bids for demolition for those 2 houses. So that one's moving along, hopefully. And that's all I have.
Any questions for Darrell? John? Neil?
No.
Anything? Thanks, Darrell.
Thanks, Darrell.
Next item on the agenda is open discussion. Do you have anything, Mr. Turner?
Not this evening.
Okay, thank you. And James Crosby, you had an item you wanted to come up with?
Yes.
We've got your address, Jim.
James Crosby, Bud Crosby, 4500 block of Westbourne. My item of interest tonight is the 911 consolidation. I understand that's tentatively scheduled for the second August meeting to be discussed. Do I understand correctly that Mr. Genowine is the representative for Sylvania Township for this, or is that yet to be determined?
Well, there's some question, and I'll let Mr. Turner. I had the same question earlier today. I thought it was John, but I'm not sure now, so.
Correct. So my understanding is that in January, Mr. Genowine was appointed to the committee that regularly addresses these types of issues. My discussions with Mr. Hireman with the county, he indicated to me the action being requested by the board was that they designate an individual to act as the representative at the planning committee vote, which they've discussed as being in September. Based on his comments, I believe that could be any trustee that the board determines. And he did not indicate to me in our conversations that it would naturally fall to Mr. Genowine, but that's something I could certainly clarify with him.
Personally, I have no problem with John. I thought John was already appointed, and the day you said, well, you're not sure now. But Neil, do you have any insight?
I'm fine with it, whatever.
So I think if they want a formal action, we'll take it at the next meeting if that's necessary. I kind of thought...
I'd just be representing the board, whether it's a 2-1 or 3-0 vote, I would just be casting that, so...
Well, I think we appointed you earlier, that was my understanding.
That's why I'm easily confused about what's going on so far, just what limited information I've gotten from the newspaper and some other sources which might not be reliable. So I come directly to you gentlemen to find out what participation you've been able to do as of yet. And if there hasn't been anything, and obviously we haven't designated an official attendee for it, although maybe by default might fall to Mr. Genowine. And do I understand that the discussion is going to be on August 20th, the second meeting?
Well, we were going to do it, I think it was tonight, wasn't it? But the county asked to delay it, so I think we're set up for August 20th now.
There's different references depending upon which material you have your hands on as to when the discussion is going to take place. The discussion, then the follow-up with that is you anticipate discussing it that night are you anticipating then also to enact a resolution in support of the consolidation or to decline that, or will that be something that's done in the future?
Personally, I haven't made my mind up yet. I'm still getting this information you're talking about.
Well, absolutely, you all individually need to make up your mind based upon your information, and I think you should discuss it amongst yourselves here in open meeting so that we have an understanding of where everyone's coming from
Well, right
and
now,
who's best representing
We're scheduled.
positions.
We're scheduled for discussion on the 20th, and then I think a decision in early September. That's my understanding.
So you'll have
But Oliver's been coordinating this with the county.
So you anticipate one night of initial discussion, perhaps a follow-up discussion, and then formal action taking some time after that?
That's my intent. Oliver knows the county's intent, so is that pretty good, Oliver?
Go ahead.
Right, and as was referenced, this item was on the agenda for the July 2nd meeting at one point. Lucas County did reach out and ask that that be postponed, and it was decided at the time in discussions between myself and Mr. Crandall, it would be moved to the August 20th meeting, similar with the same format as would have been the case with July 2nd, which was a discussion at the time, and then an anticipated vote at a future meeting. That way there could be discussion and an informational presentation at the initial discussion.
That also gives the public two opportunities to discuss it with the board.
Correct. In terms of the representative, I can definitely clarify that if they are requesting a formal action, that whether the action by the board would be to affirm Mr. Genowin's appointment or any type of formal action that they'll require, certainly.
Sounds good.
Do I also understand that the representative from this township will simply be a message taker from a formal action of the board as a whole, and not just an individual choice? So, I think I have a better understanding now of what you anticipate doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's best not to believe in, let us have a conversation in public, which we definitely planned on doing this month and in August. Let us have that conversation before you jump to any conclusions and see where that takes us. I mean,
I'm not...
it's pretty unfair to say, I know where you're going with this, when we haven't even discussed this in public.
I never said anything about predisposing what I believe. I'm simply encouraging the open discussion here.
Definitely.
And since I had I came directly to, as it were, the horse's mouth. And that's what this board is.
Horses?
No.
One or the other.
No. The sum of information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Bud. Okay, I'll make a motion to go into executive session at 5:27 to discuss pending or imminent court action for the administration.
Second. At 5:29?
Yeah, I thought
Mr. Genowin?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
yes. Thank you. Okay, I'll move we come out of executive session at 5:40. No action to be taken this evening. And Oliver and Darrell joined us. Would you make a note in the minutes? And then the Lucas County Prosecutor's Office.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes,
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Genowin?
Yes.
I'll move that we adjourn at 5:41.
Second.
Mr. Genowin?
Yes.
Mr. Mahoney?
Yes.
Mr. Crandall?
Yes, thank you.
We adjourn.